Hi everyone, this is the first tutorial for the new Oceanis system that covers water and ocean, mainly is for big large oceans. So let's begin by looking at how to configure the system in a new scene. So we do a new scene. We put a free camera here to move the camera a bit, so we can take an idea how the water looks. We create an empty game object, name it Oceanis, and we add the global Oceanis controller, URP. The system is for URP. So here we have three main configuration options. So we have a renderer for the reflections that may contain some special script in the renderer to handle, for example, clouds like in Sky Master ULTIMATE, where there is a special configuration there for the clouds, for reflections. So here we put one. We have a depth renderer that ideally we want a renderer without any image effects. So we put 5. In our 5 renderer we don't have any image effects here. And we have the water height. So the water height can be 0, but I put 3. So it's a bit above 0 in this case. So we continue by pressing the water planes. So this will add the water planes. You can see there are 3 water planes. There is a front plane, the back plane, and the mask plane. So the mask plane is in the water mask layer. So before we begin, we have actually to create 2 layers. One water mask layer in position 8 and one terrain layer in position 9. Also, we can create a layer that will be in reflections. So we'll see in a moment how to configure this, because the terrain now is currently used both for reflections and for the top-down depth renderer, which renders a top-down image for the shorelines. Also the front and the back are in the water layer. So let's continue. After we have added these water planes, we can set up a sample sky dome. Actually this is required because the sky dome do the sky calculations for the water, for the realistic submodule of the water. It's not needed to use the actual sky, just the calculations. So we add to the scene, we see we added this mesh here, that corresponds to our sky. So this mesh is not really required, but it's a sample, can be used. And here is the various properties for the sun. So for example, we can make it more bright or less bright. Okay, let's continue. We can set up the reflections now. So the reflections creates this planar reflection camera with a correct renderer, as we see. Render into a temporary texture here. So this set up reflections. Now we can set up the top-down depth renderer. So the top-down depth renderer is set up here, depth renderer. It's rendered once in this case. This is disabled after start if the area we need is small, or we can have update per distance by disabling this and updating per distance to follow the layer. Here we have to reference our material. It's automatically done in the setup. And here we have to reference how it's the name in the shader of the texture. So it can be different, so it can be changed in these 2 spots. Okay. Now, after that, we can set up image effects. Before set up image effects, it's better to press once on the camera to enable the universal additional data, because otherwise it will not enable the post-processing here. But in any case, can be enabled later. So set up image effects. We set up. Now we see the camera is also post-processing here. So the image effects cover a range of image effects like volumetric sunbeams underwater and fog, volumetric fog underwater. And here is the relevant volume that has, except the normal Unity image effects, has also gradient fog and light shafts. This is predefined, so it's used directly or can be changed, of course, as needed. But the predefined from prefab is already taking the water mask here. You can see from the mask camera. So the mask camera renders. Let me see. There's the mask camera. Sorry, they were not added yet the water mask. So the water mask is responsible for rendering a mask between the air and the water. So we set up water mask. Now we can see the helper cameras. One is for the sky dome. This is not really needed. It's just to render the sky if we need, but it's not needed. So that's why it's disabled. We have the air water mask camera. That is this one. It renders the water mask layer, which is this one. This is the item, and the water mask, and it renders it to the water mask texture. So this texture goes exactly to our masking, to our mask effects, like this one, like fog and light source. So let's continue. We have also a less flare system, which we will not use right now. We have a Caustics volume. This enables a Caustics volume and a sample skin to go with it. So this is the Caustics, and this is the parameters to change. So we can change the water height, the various parameters to go Caustics up or down, and the power of the Caustics, and all these things. So we can also add a sample boat, and add also throwable floaters. So the boat is added here, the throwable object is added here. You can see it, and we will see in a moment how this works. And that covers the main setup. So now it has all the components inserted, except the less flares we will see later. So we can we have now a system that saves our changes to the material, the main material, in this material here. So what happens is that these layers have a single material, this one. This is the main material that is changed every time. So this material is referenced everywhere, and it changes based on our choices, and we can load save materials like all this up to it, and we can eventually save any properties of, we can load this material, for example, by using this presets here. We can load, for example, preset 14, put it here, then copy ID and copy preset. This will copy the preset. And then we can edit all these ocean materials. We can actually load material properties. Okay. There's some error here. And yes, okay, when we load the material, we have to make a save first. So the save, what it does is create this material here and saves the properties, the current properties. So that is needed before actually we edit the material. So we press a save to create a material, then we can load, of course, and edit. The edit button opens all these edit options. Close, open. So here we can change the sky directly, for example. We can change the intensity of the sky. Okay, let's enter play mode a bit to see. So now we see sunbeams. We see the caustics here. We see fog. We see refraction, for example, in the edges of the water here. And we can play with all the various properties now. For example, let's see, this is the waves property, so we can little waves or more waves. This is various wave properties up here. This is the watercolor. Change it darker, more realistic, less realistic. This is there are two modules. There is a more realistic and a more stylistic. So these properties here are from the realistic part. The realistic colors, the realistic subsurface scattering is this one. You can change the strength. You can change this one. The base to lower the subsurface scattering or up it. Water gloss, roughness, various properties here. Change the look of the water. The foam, we can change it to red or okay. This also there will be a controller to change the foam and the colors and every color based on the time of day. So this will come in later versions of the system because it's a bit complicated and it's also made to work with Master Ultimate. So it will take a bit time to make this one. It just regulates the colors based on time of day. So here we can increase the foam, decrease the foam, make it more bright, and various options. Here's for source. Here is the base watercolor. This is for the stylistic aspect. This is for reflection. And these are reflection. You can increase the reflection amount a lot. It's the Fresnel factors. And usually we need very small values here. This is the reflection distortion for the reflected items. Water bump power, refract, also refraction scale, how much is refracted, the items are refracted. Here you can see. Less refraction, more refraction. Okay, now here is the module that governs which part is the realistic water and which part is the more stylistic. So the first one is stylistic. So for example, we put little stylistic and we improve we put more realistic to get better reflections. For example, rough reflections of the water. Here we can put the specular power higher. And this to be activated are not used yet. Change a bit also the foam. And also we can change the specular colors. So this is an example of how to change the water in various ways. can experiment with all these parameters, of course, to get more realistic results, like this one. Now I have done everything in play mode, so one way to save the properties if it's in play mode is to take this material, which can be found directly here, and just copy it. So you can copy the material, so the properties are now saved in this material 16, for example. So let's say this is because we did the changes in the play mode. So if we did the changes in the edit mode, it will be saved automatically. But now let's see a bit how to copy a material saved, which is also another way to handle things. So we put this material that is already saved here, we put 0 and copy. So this restores directly the material. Now these properties are not yet saved in this material, so what we have to do is save material properties. And that is all. So now the material is saved without C. If we do save as, here, okay, 6. So if we do new scene and load our A6 demo, we can see that it's everything saved. So one way, if it's changed in runtime, is to copy the material, and if it's changed in the editor time now, for example, we'll just keep the changes. So, for example, here, if we increase this one, it's already saved. We save the scene. Also, there is quite, because the form is applied to the scene chart, so you can just do load material properties to load the material directly, without have to pass a few frames to reduce the foam. This is because of the simulation of the foam. So the simulation starts by full foam and has to do a few frames to in the editor. So the scripts added to the main camera is this connect sun to sun shafts. This script is handling actually the distortion, underwater distortion, and screen space sun shafts with these parameters. This depends on the sun must be visible on the screen to show. It takes the water mask here, as we see. All these are configured directly. And we have this cycle Caustics texture. This handles both controls some characteristics of the image effects of the sun shafts, the full volumetric sun shaft and fog found here. These two also are controlled by some properties on this script. So we have application of custom light cookies actually here, and they're controlled by these parameters here, the intensities and all these things. And also it cycles the Caustics textures here and in the other caustic modules. So these two scripts are required in the camera. The setup adds it automatically, and if you want to add them to another camera, you can copy them, for example, if you have to change it. So now we see how the mask is rendered, and masks out the edge, like that. So if we go to the mask, the camera, mask renderer, and we go to this one, you can see the mask here. So this is what masks the underwater effects of all kinds. You can see the full volumetric sun shafts in action, and the volumetric fog. And also there is an option to add a spotlight in the system, to add a point light in the system. For now it supports a single light in the surface, but it's trivial to add an array, so this will be added in next versions also. So this is a single light added through the Oceanis controller. This is not covered by the main configurator, so the local light should be placed here, for example a point light here, and the various properties of the light are here to increase its power, for example. Now this light is from another scene, that had a named slide. So this actually summarizes the system first configuration with the base parts, how to change and save the material, load the material, configure the masks and everything, how to regulate the refraction scale and the reflection in the water. And we see also the boat. The boat, after we add it, we can control it with the keyboard. And also with the right mouse button, we can throw these throwables. That was the second setup we did. The throwables are registered in the water, so they are tracked as they float in the air. And when they hit the water surface, the water is sampled and they stick in the water. So we can have a massive number of these floaters added to the water with minimum impact in performance. So this system is, of course, both the boat system and this floater system is just a sample of how the water sampling can be used en masse and can be tailored to individual, for example, needs of the game. So this system is acts more than like a base of to showcase how to handle these things with the system, and have some code that handles it, so it's ready to use. And this concludes here the first part of the tutorial. The second part will go into more depth in various setup procedures. Also, we didn't cover these three setup buttons. These setup buttons, what they do is they set up in the pipeline the volumetric fog and the sound shafts and all these things. So now it's already configured, so we can go here to the pipeline and see what has been configured. But these are configured by these three buttons. So the gradient fog, the underwater distortion, and the light shafts. So if we go underwater, we see the shafts. For example, we can cut the fog, we cut the shafts, or we can cut the distortion. So these three things. So here, for example, we have the distortion, but we have the fog, or the shafts now we cut. And this is the distortion. So these three modules actually correspond to these three effects that are controlled by these two scripts in the camera and by these two entries in the volume for the light shafts and the fog. The distortion is controlled only by the camera, by this camera script. And so this concludes the first tutorial for Oceanis. Thank you for attending.